Let's talk about the greatest founding fathers of all time, from document signers to revolutionary masterminds. Let's build a country. At number 12, we've got Roger Sherman, the only founder who signed all 4 major founding documents. Declaration of Independence, signed it. Articles of Confederation, signed it. Constitution, signed it. Bill of Rights, co-authored it. Sherman was the ultimate support build. Not flashy, but absolutely essential. He brokered the Great Compromise at the Constitutional Convention, creating the 2-house Congress system we still use today. Without Sherman's diplomacy, the convention would have collapsed. Sherman's playstyle? Support specialist, enables team success. Sherman lands at Tier 3 because while his contributions were vital, nobody remembers the guy who makes everyone else look good. At number 11, we've got George Mason, the man who wrote the Bill of Rights blueprint, then refused to sign the Constitution. Mason authored Virginia's Declaration of Rights in 1776, which directly inspired the first 10 amendments. But at the Constitutional Convention, Mason saw a problem. No protection for individual liberties. No free government or the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people but by a firm adherence to justice, moderation, temperance, frugality, and virtue, and by frequent recurrence to fundamental principles. He refused to sign until a Bill of Rights was added. The other founders ignored him. So, Mason campaigned against ratification until they added it anyway. Mason's playstyle? Principled contrarian. Wise, but difficult to work with. Mason lands in Tier 3 because being right doesn't matter if nobody wants to work with you. At number 10, we've got Gouverneur Morris, the guy who actually wrote the Constitution's final draft. Morris didn't just copy down what everyone agreed on. He rewrote it to make it readable. That famous opening line, "We the people of the United States," that's Morris. He changed it from the original boring version to create the most iconic opening in American history. Morris also designed the decimal-based currency system, dollars and cents instead of pounds and shillings. Morris's playstyle? Editor build. Takes messy drafts, makes them legendary. Morris lands in Tier 3 because ghostwriters rarely get credit, even when their work defines nations. At number 9, we've got Thomas Paine, the revolutionary content creator who turned public opinion with a single pamphlet. In January 1776, most colonists still wanted reconciliation with Britain. Then, Paine published Common Sense, a 47-page pamphlet arguing for complete independence. He opened with one of the most famous lines in revolutionary writing. "These are the times that try men's souls." It sold 500,000 copies in a population of 2.5 million. That's like going mega viral overnight. Paine wrote in plain language, not fancy academic prose. He spoke directly to regular people, calling monarchy ridiculous and independence common sense. 6 months later, America declared independence. Paine's playstyle? Propaganda specialist. Shifts public opinion. Paine lands in Tier 3 because while his pamphlet changed history, he had zero influence on governing the country he helped create. At number 8, we've got Samuel Adams, the revolutionary agitator who started the whole damn war. While other founders debated philosophy, Adams was organizing riots. He founded the Sons of Liberty, a revolutionary group that terrorized British officials and tax collectors. The Boston Tea Party? Adams organized it. The Boston Massacre propaganda campaign? Adams ran it. The network of revolutionary cells across the colonies? Adams built it. By the time the revolution started, Adams had spent decades radicalizing colonists against British rule. Before the first shot was fired, Adams had already won the information war. If ye love wealth greater than liberty, the tranquility of servitude greater than the animating contest of freedom, go from us in peace. Adams' playstyle? Revolutionary instigator. Starts conflicts, others finish them. Adam lands in Tier 2 because he ignited the revolution, yes, but had almost no role in building the government afterward. Without Adams lighting the fuse, there might never have been a revolution to govern. At number 7, we've got John Jay, America's first Chief Justice and the founder who avoided drama. While Hamilton and Jefferson were beefing, while others chased glory, Jay just kept the server from crashing. Jay was quietly building the judicial branch from scratch. He co-wrote the Federalist Papers, the strategy guide for the Constitution, negotiated the Treaty of Paris, ending the Revolutionary War, and became the first Supreme Court Chief Justice. Jay also negotiated Jay's treaty with Britain in 1794, preventing a second war that would have destroyed the young nation. Everyone hated the treaty. Jay got death threats even. But it bought America 20 years of peace to grow stronger. Jay's playstyle? Diplomatic tank. Absorbs hate, saves the nation. Jay lands in Tier 2 because doing the right unpopular thing is harder than doing the popular thing. Basically, Jay soloed diplomacy on hard mode while everyone else was arguing in chat. At number 6, we've got Thomas Jefferson, the founder who wrote America into existence. In June 1776, the Continental Congress needed a document explaining why America should be independent. Jefferson, at age 33, wrote the Declaration of Independence in 17 days. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Those 1,320 words changed human history. They defined what America stood for. Jefferson also doubled America's size overnight with the Louisiana Purchase, founded the University of Virginia, and served as the third president. But Jefferson owned slaves his entire life, over 600 enslaved people, which makes his words about equality deeply hypocritical. Jefferson also wrote passages in the Notes on the State of Virginia describing black people as inferior to the whites in the endowments both of body and mind. Hardly the words of a man who believes in equality. Jefferson's playstyle? Visionary writer with fatal contradiction. Jefferson lands in Tier 2 because he wrote the mission statement, yes, but didn't live up to his own ideals. At number 5, we've got John Adams, the founder who never got the credit he deserved. Basically, the DLC character nobody picked, until the meta changed 200 years later. Adams nominated George Washington as commander. Adams negotiated the Treaty of Paris. Adams wrote Massachusetts' Constitution, the template for the U.S. Constitution. Adams became the first vice president, then the second president. But history remembers him as the guy between Washington and Jefferson. Adams kept America out of war with France when everyone else wanted revenge. He lost re-election because of it. He believed virtue mattered more than votes, and history made him pay for it. Decades later, historians realized he saved the country. Adams' playstyle? Underappreciated strategist. Right, but unlucky. Adams lands in Tier 2 because being great isn't enough if you're overshadowed by legends. Before we rank the top 4 founders, quick, if you're vibing with this, hit subscribe. We rank historical figures and battles every week. Don't miss the next one. At number 4, we've got Alexander Hamilton, the immigrant speedrunner who built America's economy from scratch. As a teenager in the Caribbean, he wrote an essay so powerful it convinced locals to fund his trip to America. Hamilton arrived in America at age 17 with nothing. By age 30, he was Washington's right-hand man. By 35, he was Treasury Secretary inventing American capitalism. He treated nation-building like a side quest and finished it before level 40. Hamilton created the National Bank, established federal credit, built the Coast Guard, the Customs Service, and the financial system that turned America from broke colony to economic superpower. Oh, and he co-wrote the Federalist Papers, 51 essays explaining why the Constitution was genius. "Those who stand for nothing fall for anything," he said. His flaw? He couldn't shut up. At the Constitutional Convention, he talked for 6 straight hours, arguing for a much stronger central government, even suggesting something close to a president serving for life. Yet, not a single delegate bought it. He published his own affair to defend his honor. He got into a duel and got shot by the vice president. Hamilton's playstyle? Hyper-aggressive innovator. High risk, high reward. Hamilton lands at number 4 because he built the economic engine, yes, but his ego eventually killed him. Even death couldn't stop him from making a point. At number 3, we've got James Madison, the father of the Constitution and America's dungeon master. If Hamilton built the body, Madison built the soul. I rank Madison at number 3 above Hamilton because you could delete Hamilton's financial model and America might limp forward differently. But if you deleted Madison's Constitution, the entire nation would collapse. James Madison wrote the Virginia Plan, the blueprint for the Constitution. He took detailed notes of every debate. He co-wrote the Federalist Papers explaining how it all worked. But behind his calm intellect, Madison suffered from anxiety and chronic illness. He once feared even public speaking might kill him. He was reserved and bookish until he married Dolly, whose charisma turned them into Washington's ultimate power couple. He once opposed adding a Bill of Rights, then became its author, proving even geniuses can change their minds. Then, as president, he led America through the War of 1812, defending the Constitution he'd written. Madison was 5 feet 4 inches and weighed 100 pounds, but intellectually, he was unstoppable. He looked like a background NPC until he opened his mouth. Madison's playstyle? System architect, builds frameworks that last centuries. Madison lands at number 3 because he built the operating system every president since has run on. At number 2, we've got Benjamin Franklin, the final boss of charisma and America's international legend. He ran away from home at 17 with nothing but ambition and a printing press apprenticeship, reinventing himself in Philadelphia from a broke runaway into a self-made polymath. Franklin was already famous before the Revolution. Scientist, inventor, publisher, diplomat. He didn't waste words, he built results. His motto? Well done is better than well said. During the Revolution, Franklin went to France and convinced them to bankroll the entire war. Before crossing the Atlantic, he warned his countrymen, "They that can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Then he crossed the ocean and turned that warning into a diplomatic masterclass. Without French money, ships, and soldiers, America loses. Franklin secured it all through sheer charm and diplomacy. He was 70 years old, partying with French aristocrats, while the British were losing their minds trying to stop him. Franklin also helped draft the Declaration, negotiated the Treaty of Paris, and at 81 years old, he was the oldest signer of the Constitution. Franklin's play style, legendary support, enables victory through diplomacy. Franklin lands at number 2 because without his international hustle, there is no America. At number 1, we've got George Washington, the founder who held everything together when it should have collapsed. Washington wasn't the smartest founder. He wasn't the best writer. He wasn't the most charismatic. But he was the leader. During the Revolutionary War, Washington's army was outgunned, outnumbered, starving, and freezing. They lost battle after battle, but Washington never quit. He kept the army alive through sheer willpower, retreating, regrouping, and striking when the British got cocky. After winning the war, Washington could have become king. Everyone expected it. Some even wanted it. Washington said no. He stepped down and then went home. Then they begged him to be president. He served 2 terms, established precedents that still stand, then stepped down again. No other revolutionary leader in history has done that. Washington's play style? Legendary leader. Holds the team together through impossible odds. Washington lands at number 1 because he's the reason America exists, not because he was perfect, but because when the nation offered him the keys to the kingdom forever, Washington said no to power twice. That's why he's the greatest. When he finally left the presidency, the Capitol wept. Even King George III called him the greatest man in the world for walking away from power. From Sherman's compromises to Washington's refusal of a crown, the Founding Fathers weren't just politicians, they were architects of a revolutionary idea that a nation could be built on principles instead of bloodlines, on liberty instead of loyalty, on we the people instead of divine right. Regardless of your take on the America of today, these men were trying to design a system immune to tyranny, a republic strong enough to outlive its creators. So, which founder would you main? The revolutionary agitator Samuel Adams, James Madison, the bookish underdog, or the uncorruptible leader George Washington? Drop your pick in the comments. Let's debate the rankings.